All right, hello everyone. Welcome Rotaractors, Rotarians, and friends to the cooking session of the RotarActs of Kindness. My name is Mark Riedinger, and I am the District RotarAct Representative of D6270 in southeastern Wisconsin, and I am the session moderator today. In this session, Chef Lori de Sanctis and sommelier Scott Barden will lead us through the creation of a delicious Italian meal. All proceeds from the RotarActs of Kindness sessions will support Rotary's Disaster Response Fund. It has been proven time and time again that the Rotary family is available whenever and wherever help is needed. From the recent explosion in Beirut, our current COVID-19 relief efforts, to decades-long assault on polio, we respond quickly, efficiently, and with care. The Rotary family also plans ahead so that we have the resources necessary to react when disaster strikes. As we all know, the Rotary Foundation is the backbone of our ability to be sustainable for future generations. It is so important that Rotaractors and Rotarians come together to support the future of our organization, and through that, the future of our planet. With RotarAct's elevated status within Rotary International comes an elevated responsibility to give back. The support and encouragement of Rotarians will help this transition be smooth, meaningful, and impactful. We are so excited that in July 2021, our 7th area of focus, supporting the environment, will make its debut. As Rotaractors, we feel it is important to focus on our immediate needs in tandem with ensuring a habitable planet for future generations. As we prepare to welcome this new area of focus and invest in our future, we want to ensure that the Disaster Response Fund is well positioned to be put into use when we need it most. Thank you again for your generosity. We think these sessions will far surpass the donated amount in fun and quality. If you agree and would like to further support these efforts through increasing your gift and sharing with others, the Raise for Rotary link is open until June 1st and is being placed in the chat right now. Please note that donations on Raise for Rotary count towards all donor recognition opportunities offered by RI. They are functionally the same as any gift to the Rotary Foundation. We know you will enjoy this incredible session, but first let's go over a couple housekeeping comments. Please note this session is being recorded. You have all been muted, and we request you please stay on mute to ensure no background noises interferes with the presentation. Please make sure you are in speaker view for the best experience during the forum. And all speaker bios can be found on the Ascension RotarAct Network conference website, where you completed your registration initially to sign up for this. Now, please allow me the pleasure of introducing our chef, Lori de Sanctis. Lori was born to Italian immigrants in Montreal. Her parents come from a small town, Guglielmizzi, hence the reason for the name of her company, Molise Cuisine. Her introduction to cooking started at a young age, as her mom always made her stay beside her when she was preparing food, whether it was Sunday ragu or Christmas cookies or homemade bread or pasta. She always wanted her to help, even just to stir or to go and get an ingredient. Slowly, curiosity and the desire to be as good as her mom took over. Not to mention, when it came time to make tomato sauce, homemade sausage, prosciutto, salami, pickled vegetables, it seemed that it was always time to make something all year round. All the cousins had a table where parents, uncles, aunts could give you a chore to do. Still, as a child, she truly enjoyed it. It gave the families the opportunity to be together, and the cousins couldn't have been happier. However, as teenagers with boyfriends and girlfriends, the last thing they wanted to do was cook tomato sauce or sausage. But once she got married in 1983, the love of cooking and all the knowledge and recipes stashed in her brain surfaced. Food was always a big part of her life as a symbol of love and bonding with one another. There was always an excuse to be together, and we're better than at a table. Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries, even after a wedding finishing around 1 or 2 a.m., her dad would invite friends and family over to have spaghetti aglio and olio. Cooking allows her to let out her creative side. Cooking is an art and a masterpiece. When she is in the kitchen cooking away, it just feels nice to be away from everything else and everyone else for a little while. It feels peaceful, yet fun. The creativity kicks in when she is plating her dishes and making a decision of how she wants to look or appear to the eye, how she wants it to look or appear to the eye. She also feels the most creative in cooking when it comes to deciding what herbs, spices, seasonings, and ingredients to add. Another aspect of growing up in an Italian family, her mother always used to tell her, is to get a man's heart is through his stomach. Need she say more? So when she invites family and friends, she shows them love, starting with wonderful food, excellent wine, and having a beautiful table set. Cooking is love for Lori. You can learn more about Lori's cooking and wine tours in Italy through the link in our chat. Our sommelier of the evening is Scott Barden. Scott is originally from Leeds in Northern England and went to university in Manchester. His degree was in business information technology, and after graduation, he moved to Singapore. Through blind luck, managed to get a job with Credit Suisse. From Singapore, he moved back to London, and that's where he called home until he was bitten by the travel and wine bug. After about 3 years ago, he and his partner left London to follow new careers in industries they felt passionate about, in his case, wine. He started down the WSET path, having now completed the WSET Level 3 with an eye on Level 4 diploma. Not long after he moved to Molise, he crossed paths with Lori. With her passion for food and his passion for wine, it was a perfect match for organizing culinary tours of this incredible region. You can learn more about Scott's wine and retreats in Italy through the other link in the chat, which has just been posted. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Lori de Sanctis and Scott Barden. Enjoy.
Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's fine. So I'm really glad that everybody has joined our cooking class. Okay, so we're going to have two different dishes today. I'm going to make spaghetti allo scoglio, which is fish, and spaghetti with mushrooms. They're very similar, but not exactly. The basics are similar with olive oil and garlic and everything, but everything else is different. Okay, so we're going to start with the fish dish, which is going to be our spaghetti aglio e olio. Okay, so we're going to get that on. Okay, we're going to add, hope everybody can see, our olive oil. Always make sure you get really great olive oil because it really is important to have extra virgin olive oil. There we are. Okay. I do a lot by just, I don't measure a lot of my stuff like my mom used to do. So I really did take after her in this respect. All right. So after that, we're going to add our garlic. I'm going to actually squash it. Here we go, my little knives. There. Okay. And just put that in there. And our pepper. If you don't want it spicy, just don't add the hot one. Just choose something mild or just skip it. It's not important. Okay. So we're just going to let that just brown a little bit. There we are. Okay. Hope everybody can see well here. And that's going to flavor our olive oil, which is really, really, really important. Okay. If you also don't like garlic, just let it, the olive oil, flavor, and just remove it. I like it, so we're gonna let it stay in there. Okay. After that, we're gonna add our puree. There we are. This is a homemade. There. Okay. Just gonna lower that a little. There we are. Oh, there. Let's let this cook for a few minutes. Okay. In our recipe, we have the cuttlefish. Now, the cuttlefish is what takes the longest to cook. Okay. So I'm just going to also add some salt in there and lower that. I'm going to add the cuttlefish. There we go. And let that cook. I like to add my puree at this time because it actually, when I put the cuttlefish, it's going to be really, really flavory. Because the mussels and the shrimps and the clams really cook quite quickly, so it doesn't have a chance to really pick up a lot of flavor. I'm also going to add at this time a little bit of parsley. I'm going to break it up. There we are. Okay. And we're going to let that cook just for a little bit. Okay. Okay, so let's just let it cook here a bit. If you see that maybe it's drying a little bit as it's cooking, just add just a little bit of water, just a touch. There we are. There we are. This is very simple. Okay, a lot of Italian recipes really don't require a lot of ingredients. What's very important is the fresh food, what's in season, olive oil, few things, just few ingredients really make a great dish. Like once they were saying, when they were talking about my father inviting people after a wedding. Well, the main was after we all had spaghetti aglio e olio. That means garlic and olive oil. I mean, what's more simpler than just putting some olive oil, garlic, and just cooking your pasta and just pouring that over it with hot pepper if you like hot pepper. I mean, and it was great. There's another thing that maybe I should tell you. We don't put cheese, any kind of cheese on our fish dishes. I know when I have my cooking classes and lessons, a lot of people ask me about how come we don't put the cheese, they're asking for cheese. And that's really like un sacrilegio. I mean, if you ever would be with a chef, and it has happened, where they said, where's the cheese for my fish dish? And the chef is like, oh my God, no cheese. Because the cheese is strong and it just covers it covers the taste of the fish. So that's not good. It's really not a good idea. You want to taste the fish. Okay. So now that this has, there we are. Okay, there we are. I'm just going to put this over here. Okay, now we're going to add the shrimps. There we are. Oops. Okay. And the mussels and the clams. And we're going to let it cook for 5 minutes before adding half a glass of white wine. There we are. I'm going to add my salt in the water. If anybody is ever is thinking about traveling to Italy and discovering new regions, Scott and I would love to have you over in Molise in one of our tours. We have really amazing wine in Molise, really, really, really amazing wine. And we also added some new tours, which include Molise and Abruzzo. And then we have Molise and La Puglia. So there we are. We're going to let that cook for a few minutes. And my water is boiling. There we are. Starting to smell. Okay. Just going to cover my water so it boils faster. There we are. There we are. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Okay. So that's cooking. I'm going to check my water. Okay. All right. Okay. Our clams are opening up. All right, there we are. And you know what I'm going to add now? There, they're opening up. A half glass of white wine. There we are. Okay. Okay, there. So we're going to let that cook. Let's see the water. Okay. Okay, so I'll let our water cook. There. Hope everybody can see this. We're going to let our mussels are opening, and our sauce is going to pick up all this beautiful flavoring of the fish. This morning I went down to the port in Termoli to pick up this fresh fish. Okay, we don't use, we just use fish with shells, okay? Because that's why it's called a lo scoglio. Lo scoglio means the rocks that you find on the beach and in the water. That's where the mussels grow and everything. So that's why it's called, because they have shells. There we are. Look at that. There. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to let that cook. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to open this over here so that the water is going to, and I can prepare my other dish. The water can easily boil over here. Okay, let's transfer this over here. Okay, I'm just going to transfer this over here. There we are. Okay, and put my other there. There. Okay. So now we're going to do the spaghetti, well, the mushroom sauce. Okay. For people that are allergic to fish or mussels or the clams, that's good over there. We're just gonna lower it a little bit. There we are. Okay. Same thing over here. Add some olive oil. And some garlic. There we are. And we're gonna let that cook. And let's take this one here. Oops. Okay. And instead of the puree for this sauce, we're gonna use chunks of tomato chunks. There we are. Just add that on. There. Okay. Hold on. Okay. There we are. Okay. So cooking. Okay, I'm just gonna add some salt. There we are. Okay. I'm going to cut my parsley. Okay. Now I don't like my mushrooms fried too much. So I'm going to add them after I've added my sauce. So don't, really don't worry about that. I'm just going to lower this a little bit. Okay. There we are. Okay, so now I'm going to add my mushrooms so that I don't have to fry. But if you want, like our recipe says, you can fry them first and then add the tomato sauce, the tomato pieces, the big chunks. There. I like the tomato sauce to really be flavored with my mushrooms. And I'm just going to add just a little bit of water also over here. Oops. There we are. Okay. See, there are very few ingredients. And the mushrooms, you can use just about any type. I'm using portobello and champignon. There we are. So I repeat, you can have them fried, your mushrooms, before you add your sauce or after if you don't want them too fried. I prefer them not that fried, but either way is good. There we are. We're gonna let that cook. Let's look at our fish. Okay, our fish sauce is almost done. There we are. Okay. For those who want a little bit more spicy, you can also use freshly ground red peppers, which is very hot. So I'm just going to add just a little bit there. Oops. I think I have it wrong. There we go. Yeah. Okay. That's also coming out very nicely. Like I said, simple, not a lot of ingredients, easy to get. Okay, so now this has been cooking. I'm going to also add here half a glass of white wine. There we are. And that's going to cook nicely. There we are. Okay. How's that look, Scott? Good? All right. Just going to wait, see how my pasta water is doing. Okay. I'm just going to open this bigger one so that it's going to be much faster, quicker. Okay. There. It's the first time I do two recipes at the same time. Because when I said, okay, I'm going to make a fish dish, and then they said, oh my, well, what about people that are allergic to fish? So I thought of something else that didn't have fish, but was also very simple to make and very easy. All right, there we are. That's coming along well. There. Okay, perfect. All right. So this is ready. So Scott, can we get a picture of that? There we are. I'm just gonna, there. Hope everybody can see that. Whew. There we are. There. So that. So this is ready. All right. I'm just gonna place it here. And I'm just going to, there we are. Do that. Yeah. That's gonna finish cooking over here. There. Okay. There. Okay. So that's gonna finish cooking. There we are. Perfect. Just get everything out of here. There. Now for this fish dish, I also want to add a little bit of olive oil that has mushroom flavoring inside. It just gives it that extra little spunk. There. That's cooking really nicely. So the wine is going to evaporate. And the sauce is going to pick up that nice white wine flavoring. And we're using La Falanquina as a white wine, it's typical of the region here. There. Okay, that's going nicely. I don't know if Scott, do you want to come in? This is there. No, Scott is going to talk about
my favorite bit is
yes.
the wine, and then my favorite bit is putting the wine with the food afterwards. So we've actually got two wines tonight because much like the food, we know that there's different palettes for different wines. So we've got a red and a white. It's probably a little bit to see with the steam. I'll post photos of this and details of this in the chat afterwards. They're actually both from the same producer, from a producer called Campi Valerio. We're actually located quite close to the sea here, but Campi Valerio is about an hour's drive inland, and it's right at the foot of Monte Meta. So the vineyards are at quite high altitude, which if you know, when it comes to sort of growing vines in this area of Italy, it's exceptionally hot during summer. So the higher the altitude helps cool the vineyards a little bit, which is very important. So Campi Valerio have produced these two wines. We sort of see them as the married couple because they both take their name from the original married couple of the region, which goes back to ancient Roman times. Close to the vineyard where these grapes are grown, there was I suppose you'd call it a plaque, or the Romans called it an epigraph. And an epigraph is a bit like a tombstone. It was written by Romans to commemorate somebody after their death. So they would often write these little epigraphs on stone, telling a story of the life of the person they were trying to remember. And this was an epigraph that was found. It's quite a strange one, actually, and you'll see why. By the husband, Mr. Clevio, which is our red white, for his wife, Mrs. Fania, which is our white tonight. And that's where the names of these come from. And the epigraph is interesting because it sort of tells, and it's quite unique, because it tells a story of the wife, Mrs. Fania, and it's a couple, they used to own a tavern. And it's a conversation that Mrs. Fania is having with a traveller who stayed the night at their tavern the night before, and they're going through the bill and they're going through the items. And I'll have to paraphrase here a little bit from the ancient Roman because it's my Latin isn't exactly fantastic. But she starts off and she's going through the items on the list, and the first item is obviously wine and food for the night before, and she sort of says that'll be, I think it's 2 assi, or 2 assai is the old word for coins, but we'll call them coins. So she says 2 coins for wine and food. The traveller turns to her and says, yes, that's very reasonable, fantastic wine, very good food, here's the 2 coins. Mrs. Fania then moves on to the second item, and she sort of says, and it'll be 3 coins for the bedroom and the room. Traveller says, oh yes, very comfortable, very good prices, here's your 3 coins. And then she moves down to the third item on the list, and for this, she sort of says, well, this is going to be 8 coins. And the 8 coins is for the companionship that we organised for you the night before. And this is where I paraphrase. And the traveller turns to her and says, oh, 8 coins, very excellent, fantastic, I'm happy to pay that, very, very glad. And then she gets the final item, and she sort of says, okay, and of course the final item, it's 1 coin just for stabling the mule. And at this point, to our shock, the traveller leaps back, throws up his hands to the gods and says, mio Dio, this mule is going to ruin me. And it sort of really shows exactly where his priorities laid when it came to his finances. It's actually such a strange sort of epigraph that it's actually now stored in the Louvre in Paris. So we can't actually see it down here. But it's such a strange story and a unique story. They've not really found anything like this before, that Antonio Valerio, the winemaker and the owner of the vineyard, he's felt like he had to name his wines after this strange couple. It's actually thought that the epigraph is not actually commemorating the wife because it's a strange story. They actually think it was one of the original advertisements. So the idea is that people would be riding down, sort of going down the road. They would see this and read this strange, funny little story. And they would also learn conveniently about all the wonderful services and fantastic prices they could acquire at Mr. Cledio's tavern just down the road. So it could be a case of it's the world's first advertisement. But onto the wines themselves. We've got, as I mentioned, two. We've got the red is a Montepulciano. So in Molise used to be part of Abruzzo, and many people will probably know Montepulciano from the region of Abruzzo. The thing, because
Oh, sorry.
so most people probably know Montepulciano from Abruzzo, and because Molise used to be part of Abruzzo up until 1963, we're also very well known for our Montepulciano, except we can't call it Montepulciano, we have to call it Molise Rosso, and there's a big reason behind that, but we won't go into it. Often you'll find that Montepulciano from this region is a better price to quality ratio because it's not quite as well known. So if you do get a chance to sort of see a Molise Rosso, just convert that into your head into a Montepulciano, and it's probably going to be quite good value for money. This one from Campi Valerio Cledio, you'll get quite a medium to full-bodied wine, your typical flavors of red cherries, dark plum, really nice smooth tannins. It's one I often recommend to people who are looking to explore the wines of this region, but are a little bit nervous about trying anything too different. It's a really nice way to ease yourself into the red wines of the region. Very reasonably priced. I know it's widely available at a lot of shops in America. We also sort of stock it in the UK. And obviously in Europe, it's, the Campi Valeria's wines are quite popular and easy to get even from Campi Valeria themselves. So that's our red, the 2017. The white is the wife, Mrs. Fania. And this is, Lori actually already mentioned it tonight. It's a grape that not a lot of people outside of this region of Italy really know. It's Falanghina. And it's probably the premium white grape from our region in Molise. And you'll also find it in Campania, just to our west. It's a very popular grape. This one is from 2020. We selected these two actually because it's quite difficult sometimes to pair white wines with a lot of food, especially tomatoes. But this is I would say it's a light to medium bodied white wine, whereas a lot of Falanghinas are very light and they might get lost with all these flavors. But this one can, I think, hold up to it. It's from 2020 vintage, which was last year, which around here was, from what we saw when we did the harvest, was fantastic, a really good year for grape quality. So this one has got flavors, citrus flavors, which is very typical to the grape, but you also get some stone fruit, so a bit of peach, and also almost like tropical fruits, which adds a bit of body to the wine, which allows us to really pair it with the food here. So again, if you have a chance to see this grape Falanghina, it's not particularly well known, but do give it a try. It's we find it, until I came here, it was not one I often tried on a regular basis. And now it's one of my favorite white grapes around here. So yeah, and if you happen to get a chance to see the 2020 as well, definitely grab that up quickly, because it's, I know the whites are disappearing pretty quickly around here. So yeah, so those are our two wines, as I mentioned, both from Campi Valerio, both sort of, wonderfully well-priced, dangerously easy to drink reds. You'll see that we've already cracked open the red earlier tonight, and we were trying to make sure we saved some. But yeah, they're both, I think, make very good sort of introductions to the region of Molise and their wines.
So you want to say something about if they want to
the wines being
So
sold to the States?
if you're looking for the wines, I know in the States it can be quite difficult to, I know the state laws can be quite difficult. If you are interested in trying these wines yourself, we've actually got an agreement with the vineyard, and they can sort of help us basically get a decent price on the shipment over there, and also find an importer, I think it is, over there. And obviously for the UK, my company carries this vine and soul in the UK. So again, that makes it reasonably easy. And throughout the whole of Europe, these are reasonably readily available. And I'm sure if you give us a shout, Campi Valerio will be happy to ship as well. But it's also one of the vineyards we visit on our tours, because they have beautiful tasting rooms.
Yes, they have absolutely beautiful wine tasting over there with great food. And
so those are our two wines, and then I'll pass you back to Lori, our maestro. I'm just going to give you back the microphone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So we're getting back to our dish. So this is just about done. Our fish sauce is done and our pasta is cooking. So we used spaghetti. Okay. Let me put that just away there so that, okay. Salt. And I'm going to take my two dishes. There we are. Put that there. There. Okay. Good. Let me see here. There. Okay. I'm just gonna. Okay. So. Okay, that's fine. So I'm just gonna open this a bit here, and I'm gonna taste my pasta. So Italians, how do we taste our pasta? There we are. I think it's still a little bit raw. There. There we are. Okay. Okay. So it has to cook. A few more minutes. There. Okay. So my sauce here is also done. So there we are. Whew. Scott, can you get a nice picture of that? There we are. Beautiful. So as soon as my pasta is ready, I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to ship over, transfer this one. There we are. We're just going to wait a few minutes for the pasta to finish cooking. So I put water, obviously. I salted my water. I'm just going to hide that a little bit. And I calculate 100 grams per person. Okay. Just put that there. Okay. Starting to. Just gonna wait a few minutes. So like we said, for all of those people who would love to come and explore Molise, we definitely have a lot. And you can go and check on our website, www.molisecuisine.com. You can ask for a personalized tour at the amount of days you would like to come and visit us, or choose from one of our already established tours. And you have the wine for those who don't want to do any cooking, but just would love to eat and drink and explore. We have our wine tours. So that could be of interest to some people. Molise is the second smallest region in Italy, and we're just about 350,000 people. The smallest one is Valle d'Aosta, which is the smallest region in Italy. but Molise has a lot of culture, and we've been invaded quite a few times, so we have a lot of history that would really be of interest for those history buffs. We've also have a nice path for those who are interested in the Second World War, because we do have we have an English, a French, a Canadian, and American cemeteries here in Molise. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot to see. Just tell us your hobbies. Sometimes, you know, you would like to do some sports, and it's not in our in one of our tours. Just let us know. Scott and I are happy to accommodate you. There we are. So on this, now I'm just going to add a little bit of this water from my pasta. There we are. Okay. And I'm going to take out the pasta for the fish dish. There we are. Okay. Just put that over here. Sorry about the noise. There we are. Okay. Our pasta is cooked. There we are. Okay. Sorry. I make that a lot of noise. In the kitchen, well, there's noise in the kitchen. There we are. Okay. Perfect. Let me see, where did I? There we are. All right. Okay, so I'm going to add my pasta to that. There we are. There. And pasta to this. There we are. Okay. Put that down. Okay. Perfect. Make sure that is well blended. All right. Okay. Now, I'm going to take my fork and I'm going to take this. There we are. This is how I do it. Like that. Okay. Wonder if you can see all of this. If you like to use also linguine, you can also do that. It doesn't have to be spaghetti, but a long pasta is definitely what is preferred. There we are. Oh, fine. Okay. There we are. Okay. There's one. And now we're going to do the other one. This is our mushroom dish. There we are. I'm just going to take some of those mushrooms. pour it right over there. I just want to show you one dish. Mushrooms. This is good for 2 people. There we are. All right, so we have our 2 dishes, which are ready. So, spaghetti allo scoglio, here we are. And spaghetti with mushrooms. Enjoy. Buon appetito. Hope everybody enjoyed being with us. And hope to see you all soon. From Scott and I, Scott.
Sorry. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Lori, because we now get to eat this. So we've been waiting for a while, and yeah, we probably finish off the rest of
the red one.
But thank you all. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah,
Yes.
hopefully see some of you over here at some point in the future.
Yes,
as well.
absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao.
So thank you, Lori and Scott, so much for guiding us on this culinary journey.
I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Please take a moment if you have any questions.
Yes, absolutely. If anybody has some questions.
I know there were a couple in the chat, so I could read those really quick. So one person asked, where in Italy is Molise? Could you just
We are on the Adriatic Sea. Sorry, I'm going to get here. On the Adriatic Sea, and we are between Molise and, we are between Abruzzo and La Puglia. And on the west, we have La Campagna, which is Napoli.
So the way I always explain it, because everybody asks, there's a running joke in Italy that I didn't realize until we moved here, that Molise non esiste.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist, because it's the youngest region. It used to be part of Abruzzo
Yes.
until 1963, and then it broke away and became its own region. So it's the second smallest and the youngest.
Yes.
So, and whenever anybody asks, I always sort of say, well, you know where Naples is? Just fly to Naples and then drive east, and you will eventually hit Termoli or Molise. So that's
right.
pretty much where we are, about halfway down the center, just little place between much bigger neighbors, but that's where we are.
And we're really, they also say it's Italy's best kept secret because we're not known. So it's really is a region to discover for those who have been to Italy many times or are looking for something new, or for those who have never been here and actually want to be one of the first ones to come and visit Molise. It's really is a beautiful region. It's not like Scott said, we're not very known. So, but it really is beautiful. We're right on the Adriatic, and then we have La Pennina, the mountains, right in front of us, and it's really something spectacular. Yeah. Any other questions?
That's wonderful. There was one person who asked how long it takes to cook the mushroom, but I think that's covered in the recipe that.
In the recipe, yes. They can, like I said, for those who like it a little bit more spicy or more, they can fry the mushrooms first, which is in the recipe like that. But the ones who are not really keen into frying, they can just let it cook with the sauce instead of frying it first.
And just to follow up, I had a question about like pairing, if you wanted to pair a wine with the dishes you made. Are both of them good to pair with those dishes, or was there one or the other?
We would always probably go with the red, I have to say. With tomato-based dishes, you'd usually go with red. However, with that said, with the squallow, you could get away with this white.
Yeah.
And as I said, this white's got a bit more body to it, so it would probably be good to pair with the fish dish,
with the spaghetti allo scoglio.
Yeah. My concern would be that a lot of the whites that we would usually drink, which are quite light and really fresh, would get a little bit lost. With things like the garlic. You would lose the taste of the white. So what we usually do in Italy is we break the difference and we'll have an aperitivo of the white.
Yes.
And we'll start with the white before the food, and we'll get through a nice fresh bottle of that, and then then we'll move on to the red.
A lot of our guests have learned, like even Scott, like aperitivo in Italy is twice a day.
Yeah, it's
a ritual. Before lunch and before dinner.
So
aperitivo.
I was quite good until I moved here, and then I met Lori, and she was like, I think she was, what was your thing? You don't drink water, do you?
No, I don't drink water.
No. Water's just a waste of time.
Yes.
So I found a really good teacher, I would say, somebody to keep me going. So it's aperitivo, about, just before lunch.
Just before, yeah.
Nice
Anywhere between 11 and 12:30, because we eat at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
just before dinner as well.
And just before dinner. So since we eat at 8 in Italy, and we have aperitivo anywhere between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
So hey, it's a good life.
That sounds lovely. Well, I don't see any other questions, so thanks everyone, each and every one of you in the audience, for your presence, attention, and generous donations to Rotary's Disaster Response Fund. It's been a joy to support this session and to see it all come together today. We look forward to tomorrow, and here's a few reminders about tomorrow, our session tomorrow. All speaker bios can be found on the Ascension Conference website. Feel free to check them out. We will start our program tomorrow, beginning promptly at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The Zoom will be open for 15 minutes beforehand if you'd like to join early. And all those Zoom links are provided in your email. Last but not least, thanks for being here, and we hope to see you again soon. Thanks again to Scott and Lori, of course.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.